Shalom, family. It's good to see everybody here. You all know what we're here for, Diddy. And I think now that we're in the time of revealing, you're not only going to see the house of Edom fall, you're going to also see many of our people that are doing a lot of wickedness out here. Many of them are going to fall. It's going to be those kind of people that seem like nothing ever happens to them. They virtually get away with everything. It seems like their life is always going just fine, and they're out here hurting a lot of people. Well, the tables are about to turn even on those among us. And we see this in the works. Look at what's happening with Candace Owens. And there's many that are going to fall right along with her. I mean, look, the Most High is not only going to punish these other nations, but he also got a clean house among our people. So, yeah, it's time for Diddy to fall. His time has come. And man, what a long reign it has been for him. You got people coming out from the 90s and talking about things he did. I mean, his time has come, plain and simple. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. There is a video on Fox 11 that I want you to watch. Let me see if I can share my screen with you, and then we'll get started. Okay, y'all, please give me a 1 if you can see the screen. And, a couple of locations got raided. One of the biggest ones was his home in LA and Miami and New York. He's been raided at different locations of property that he owns. And, with all of the stuff that has come out since Cassie filed a lawsuit on him, and then other people followed, and you continue to hear these nightmare stories about Diddy. So, nobody should be surprised that the feds were watching and now they're coming down on him. This is the feds, this is Homeland Security and local police coming together to raid Diddy. So, thank you everybody for giving me the ones. Let's go ahead and get started.
We do have someone on the line right now, Hal Kemper. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you can make light of what we're looking at in terms of Homeland Security making entry into the Holmby Hills mansion of Sean Combs.
Sandra, this is a Homeland Security investigations that appears to be on site. What they're probably looking for is, well, I should say in general, they look at human trafficking and sex trafficking being a component of that. And of course, there's been some rather big civil suit stuff that's taken place, but also the New York case where the statute of limitations basically had been rescinded, allowing them to look back many years in this case. Part of it was there have been allegations that he was drugging young women, so that there was which certainly implies that it was rape that had taken place at some point. Uh, but I think what HSI is probably looking at is the interstate aspects of it. If there was any online activity that could have taken place, and that's usually where HSI would have a jurisdictional interest. Homeland Security Investigations being part of the Department of Homeland Security, looking at the interstate side, mostly online, and whatever took place across state lines. And of course, he travels all over the place, so I'm sure they're looking at him potentially transporting women around the country, and whether that was tied to a larger criminal activity.
Yeah, definitely Homeland Security involved in any interstate, as you mentioned, and international criminal activity here. So, what exactly do you think everyone is looking for at this point? We saw such a large number of law enforcement make entry.
Well, it's a combination of both local and federal. And from what I understand, the local law enforcement has the specific lead at each one of these locations, with the federal investigators coming in with them in concert. What they're probably looking for is any evidence that they can gather. Certainly, any images, pictures, video, anything online. I've no doubt that they're going in and gathering up any electronic media, to include any laptops, any flash drives, anything that he might have that might support whatever allegations, whatever reasonable suspicion that they have that led to these search warrants. Just to get a search warrant like this requires a rather a certain substantial legal barrier has to be, or legal argument, or legal litmus test has to be met just to get them to sign off. Particularly knowing with somebody with means like this, that if they go into their home, they're going to be met with some very capable lawyers on the defendant's part to challenge what was ever done, and everything they do there is going to be challenged. So you can imagine, not only did they have to work with the district attorney and potentially assistant U.S. attorneys in arranging this, but they also are being very careful on how they're gathering any evidence, realizing that just about everything they do on site will potentially be challenged in court by his attorneys.
Absolutely. And speaking of his attorneys, we did reach out for comment. We have not yet heard back. Obviously, we want to hear his side. For Sean Combs's part, he has denied any allegations regarding sex trafficking and any investigation into that. But yeah, this could take a lot of time in terms of collecting that hard drive and flash drives and any computers they may find. Like I was mentioning before, Hal, it's very difficult to know where someone would have that or would hide that if they were trying to hide evidence. And we're looking at a big mansion here. Before we get back to you, Hal, let's go to Haley on the ground there.
Hey, Sandra. Yes, we just got that statement from the Department of Homeland Security that I was trying to get for you guys about 10 minutes ago. It doesn't say a whole lot, but it says this is attributed to Homeland Security investigations. Earlier today, Homeland Security Investigations New York executed law enforcement actions as part of an ongoing investigation with assistance from HSI Los Angeles, HSI Miami, and our local law enforcement partners. We will provide further information as it becomes available. So nothing really that we haven't already told you. Here on the scene, on the ground, a lot of the law enforcement officers with Homeland Security have gone up the hill. You can see one of those big command vehicles coming out, one of those police vehicles. In the meantime, behind us, several of his friends, they've identified themselves as, have been trying to get through the crime scene to get to the house. But of course, LAPD not letting them through. We've tried to get comment from them on camera to find out if they have any more information about what's going on, but they haven't been able to they don't want to provide us any information, I should say. And just in case you're just joining us, we have homes of P. Diddy being raided on both coasts, Miami and his home here in Holmby Hills.
So, Haley, just to clarify in that statement, it didn't mention Sean Combs, correct? Or anything?
It doesn't, but we we have confirmation from multiple law enforcement sources that this does involve Sean Combs or P. Diddy. But no, this statement, I'll read it one more time, says earlier today, Homeland Security Investigations New York executed law enforcement actions as part of an ongoing investigation with assistance from both HSI Los Angeles, HSI Miami, and our local law enforcement partners.
All right.
We'll provide further information as it becomes available. Of course, we're trying to get them to talk to us on camera, but they said, the lady in particular who sent me the statement says she's not allowed to.
Thank you so much. Yeah, not really clarifying a whole lot, though, but clearly understandable because right now, maybe they're not in position to divulge any more information.
Okay. Okay, y'all. It don't look good for Diddy. This don't look good at all. And in order for them to have that big truck there, they're taking a lot of stuff out of that house, out of that mansion. And trust me, they're going to be taking a lot of stuff. Just looking at the size of that vehicle, it's going to be more than just some electronics. And that's my opinion. And, being that he is rated at different locations, that says a lot. This was probably very well planned out and more than likely in the works for the last few months. And I think when people start talking all over social media about things that happened to them when they were around Diddy and activities that happened, trust me, they were watching all of that. They were listening, they were watching, and they were planning to go in on Diddy. I'm not surprised. I think many of us were expecting this to happen. Many of us knew eventually something was going to jump off. And that time is now. That time is here. You know, and it is not, this is far from over. This is far from over. There's still a lot of people that don't believe it. You're going to always have that reaction, y'all. And then you got people that do believe Diddy did things to people, both men and women. Because I mean, let's face it, we have been hearing from both men and women about Diddy, and a lot of it has been very negative. you know, but I have to wonder if they do put him in prison, What's going to happen to those twin girls, because they're still pretty young. They're just teenagers. And you have to wonder what's going to happen. Those girls are, they are underage and they still need parenting. I know some of his sons are grown already, but they're not. So, so much for an empire to pass down to your children. My goodness. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, I do feel bad for what happened to Kim because I don't know, that just never sat right with me. Well, Kimura has been trying to get them, and she also wants um to do another autopsy on Kim. She wants another autopsy done on them. And she's been trying to get the girls, and then all of a sudden this mysterious fire breaks out of her, at her mansion. So it's been a lot of things coming. Y'all, you see how crazy it is. Now, the lunar eclipse was last night and early in the morning. We are less than 2 weeks away from the great American eclipse, and there's usually a lot of crazy events that occur leading up to the eclipse, and even after the eclipse, you're gonna see a lot of crazy things happen, and this is pretty much the norm of what you see, and it's gonna be even more amplified because remember, we're in the age of Aquarius now. So, change is gonna happen. There is nothing anybody can do that can stop what's in motion. So, it's gonna be, Diddy and many people around you, like I said, that seem like they were getting away with everything and just doing all kinds of rotten things. Those folks are going down. They are going down, and many of them are not gonna be able to handle it at all. I am I'm just surprised it took this long because of all the stories that came out. I was expecting things to come out sooner when it came down to Diddy, but hey, I guess it is what it is. Timing is everything. So I'm going to get a little bit into, I know we saw the video, but I'm going to get a little bit into what also was written about Diddy. Okay. All right. So what they're saying is, I think the one they seem to be focusing on the most is LA. So the federal raid occurred at, his mansion, and he's a pretty big mansion there, $40 million, a lavish Holmesby Hills neighborhood. And I looked that up. That's a pretty exclusive neighborhood. So that is his home and also his Miami home, which is on Star Island. So this happened earlier today when Homeland Security investigators in New York executed law enforcement actions as part of an ongoing investigation with assistance from Homeland Security in Los Angeles, Homeland Security in Miami, and local law enforcement partnered together, and they went out to these different locations. So, according to Fox, they went out there Monday afternoon. Federal agents arrived at the home in LA, and they had a ground crew around the home. The home is registered to Bad Boy Films, a division of Bad Boy Entertainment, along with one of Combs' daughters. At this time, the Department of Homeland Security has not named Diddy as the focus of the investigation, but you know what? Eventually they will. They will eventually name him. So Sky Fox also captured images of a few people coming out of the home who were subsequently detained. So they said they did detain the people that were in the home, but from what I understand, more than likely they're going to be released. Homeland Security expert Hal Kemford joined Fox during the breaking news coverage, and he just was talking about allegations that were brought against Diddy, and drugging women, and taking women across state lines, and they're talking about countries too. So I don't know. I guess we will get the full details once the investigation is over. So, what are they looking for? They're looking for laptops, flash drives, anything that would connect Combs to the allegations. Now, if you remember, one of the things that Cassie said was he would record everything that was going on. A couple of times she would try to erase it and he would put it back. So, in order for him to put it back, he had to have those files stored somewhere. So, a lawyer for Cassie Ventura and one of Diddy's other accusers in a release statement, hopefully, this is the beginning of a process that will hold Mr. Combs responsible for his depraved conduct. So, they did try to reach out to Diddy, but they could not reach anybody for comment. Diddy also mentioned in Cat Williams' explosive interview with Shannon Sharp on Club Shay Shay, all lies will be exposed. This is what Cat Williams said when he spoke about Diddy, Harvey Weinstein, R. Kelly, and Michael Jackson. Last year, Cassie Ventura, known as Cassie, dropped a bombshell lawsuit in New York federal court against the bad boy mogul. Combs and Ventura dated between 2005 and 2018. The lawsuit detailed several eye-raising allegations that detailed years of alleged abuse. The two then settled like the next day after she filed. That had to be the fastest settlement I've ever seen in my life. And that was just the beginning. Just 2 weeks later, two more women came forward to accuse the hip hop mogul of abuse in separate suits. Both of those lawsuits were filed in November of 2023. And remember, they filed just before that Adult Survivor Act expired. And that was the New York law that permitted victims up to a 1 year window to file civil actions. The filings detailed assaults, beatings, and forced drugging. Allegedly, these things happened in the early 90s by Combs. One of the accusers, Joy Dickerson, said she was 19 years old, a student at Syracuse University, when she agreed to meet Combs at a restaurant in Harlem in 1991. After their date, Combs drugged her and then brought her home and assaulted her. Without her knowledge, Combs videotaped the assault and later shared it with several friends in the music industry. The public exposure sent Dickerson into a tailspin, contributing to severe depression that landed her in the hospital and forced her to drop out of college. Fast forward, February of 2024, he faced another lawsuit, this time by a male music producer. The suit, filed in federal court in New York, accused Combs of repeated instances of unsoliciting touching. Also, it said the man had to work in a bathroom while Combs showered and walked around nude. A lawyer for Combs called the events in the lawsuit pure fiction. We have overwhelming, indisputable proof of his claims. are complete lies. This is what Combs' attorney, Sean Hawley, this is what he said in a response. We will address these outlandish allegations in court and take all appropriate actions against those who made them, she said. So, y'all, they said he faces years. He faces years behind bars if this thing falls through for him. And right now, it does not look good for him. In order for them to raid 3 properties like that all in the same day, this don't look good for Diddy. I'm just saying, this looks really bad for him. Mm-mm-mm. So, y'all, we will stay tuned and stay on top of this story. There are so many things going on, and there's also things going on behind the scenes that I can't quite tell you yet, but it's possibly going to break on YouTube. I would say anytime now. You're going to start hearing things about folks with big channels and things that you never heard before. But we're on Diddy now. So, y'all, you're going to have to tell me what you think. I, for one, knew something eventually was going to go down with Diddy. And here we are. Here we are. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Thank you for coming. And tomorrow I will be doing a live stream on Putin and the Russian icons that he recently opened the vault and, many of us already knew about the Russian icon, but we're going to do a lot more spiritual talk on that one. So please enjoy the rest of your night and be on the lookout for my new videos that will be coming out after midnight. Shalom, family.